Yes. So, once again, good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing very well today. Yes, give me a thumbs up, a nice thumbs up. Yes, good. And so you do realize that we are done with our halfway stage yesterday, didn't we? So 2 days are over, and 2 more days to go. 4 more speakers are there, out of which the first speaker today is going to be Saumya Das. Now, let me introduce you to Saumya. Saumya is she comes from Ahmedabad, okay, and she is one of the master trainer candidates from AANLP. Okay, so in the next couple of years, you will see another master trainer being certified from Asian Association of NLP. I'm sure you know this, that master trainer certification is the highest certification, okay, in NLP, and Soumya is on that track. I have always found her perspective on various topics of NLP very unique. Okay, very different. Okay, it's probably because I don't know. Obviously, it's because her experiences have been different in life, and I think she's a very creative person. So you give her any food for thought, and she will dissect it and then join it together and then do certain things with that concept, think innovatively, creatively, come out with her own invention, if I may say so. Okay, so that's why she is our fifth trainer. That is on the third day, the fifth trainer. So over to you, Soumya. So Soumya today has a very interesting topic, and it has got to do with, I will not tell you with what. Okay. But I think let her take you through this. And I hope you all take maximum out of it. Over to you, Soumya.
Thank you, Amar. Thank you for the excellent introduction, first of all. And thank you for organizing this NLP Global Conclave because I think this is a great initiative. And we all speakers, on behalf of all the speakers, I want to tell you how grateful we are. And also, I'm sure all the people who are attending both the days they've attended and are attending it are also finding it useful. Thank you for making NLP accessible to all of us. And, as you already said, it's said in NLP that if you're working too hard, you're probably not doing it the NLP way. It's also something that Amar repeats a lot. It's his favorite quote from NLP that if you're working too hard, probably you're not doing it the NLP way. So NLP basically, you are all, I'm sure, as you've been attending 2 days already, you already know that it's a tool, it's a complete toolkit of navigating life with a lot of grace and simplicity, of understanding yourself, of, accentuating your self-awareness. And thank you for the excellent introduction, very interesting introduction, and I'm honored that you have observed so many things, and I take that as I just accept all of them. Thank you. Uh, but to just, extend my introduction a little more, I'll begin by telling you that I'm a biker, and I used to be a Royal Enfield ambassador for Ahmedabad, where I used to launch new bikes of Royal Enfield on my solo bike trips. That being something about me personally, about my personal passion of being independent and exploring, I have also been a passionate trainer and a counselor for almost 5 years now. But I have been in the field of communication and brand designing and brand endorsements for almost 15 years now. So probably that's where all the distorting or breaking down things come from, Amar, that you were talking about. I have worked with institutes like NID, MICA, CEPT in their placement department. I have also helped them in branding. I've helped them with their communication crafting and so on and so forth. I work with some businesses to just, help them as project consultant. And I use psychology as my basis to work with all of these in all of these fields. So psychology is something that I'm guessing all of us have in common. A need to know ourselves better, and that is what also brings us to today's discussion, our topic today, which is values. the guiding dictum of life, as Amar has very well crafted it. But it's also one of my favorite topics in NLP because I have conducted a lot of sessions over the period of time since I became a master practitioner in 2017. I have conducted a lot of particular independent sessions on value hierarchy elicitation at colleges, at businesses, even at schools with teenagers and teachers. I've also conducted it for parents. And mind you, each and every session, the participants actually go back with some insights about themselves. They actually go out with a lot of self-awareness, and people have actually reached out and told me that, having had this session actually made it clear on how we make our decisions. And I hope that we all also, and I'm really hoping for an interactive session here. I'm hoping that all of us will contribute and explore values from the NLP perspective today. Amar, I don't have a PPT to support my, what I'm going to speak about today. So I would suggest, why don't we put me on spotlight so that no one is distracted by other people's activities.
Okay, well, let me just check how you
And
do that. And
you just add spotlight. You just go to the 3 dots on my screen. Yes. Thank you. And also, it would be nice if everyone was keeping their videos on for a more interactive session. That would be very well appreciated. But of course, it's your choice. So, as I was speaking about values, I would begin by saying that your personal values basically are a central part of who you are and also who you want to become. Right? So you may think you are something, and if you want to get somewhere, it is important for you to know what your values are whenever you're taking a next step or a new decision in your life. It's very important to know what actually makes you work or what motivates you or how you take that decision. Right? So if I could just invite a few, responses from you guys on understanding, if just knowing that what you think values are. Someone, you can just unmute yourself and tell me.
For example, ma'am, with your permission, may I start?
Yes, please.
For example, my value is to reach in time or before time, complete my assignment. That is my value. And
So
in
you
case
like being
I have
punctual.
to being punctual, that is my value. So I will expect everybody else in my team also to be punctual also. So there is a hierarchy of values are there, of course, where one place is one integrity, honesty, and all those things. So I think that is what my understanding of value is. What is important to me in my life to go to the next step of, or to my to spend my life day to day, how I come across. That's what my take on this subtopic.
Fantastic, Amarjit ji. That's excellent. Anyone else who wants
Yeah, mine is
to
trust.
contribute?
Me. So I don't want to break that trust. That is what my value is. But I know it is difficult, but that is what it is.
Fantastic. No, that's a good response. Anyone else who wants to contribute and tell me what do you think values are?
But
Hold on.
reliable,
Yes.
I feel I'm reliable
Okay.
because if any task is assigned to me, I ensure that, I deliver that. So that's, I feel it's my value system.
So you value accountability a lot. You believe that if something's
Yes,
been
right.
given to you, you make sure that you're responsible enough to finish that task.
Yes, right.
That's fantastic. I can't see who's speaking, so could you tell me what your name is?
My name is Ramesh.
My
Can I speak?
Reena.
Reena. Thank you, Reena. Yes, Sumeshji, you were saying.
Yeah, I started some months back with the premise that I knew what values are.
Okay.
And going along, I have discovered I do not know enough about it.
Okay.
I realize what I have now realized, and I still may be completely off the mark, that there are value words. that we have different beliefs related to those value words. And
Okay.
therefore, for me, if you talk about reliability, it may have a meaning to me, which may be part of my belief, and it may be different for energy, for whom it might be different. And it's a process of trying to discover the values. There are a couple of methods which can be
Correct.
followed,
Yes.
and some of them might lead us to a conclusion. And it's a process of refinement, actually, which over a
Correct.
period of time you will arrive at some distilled essence of where it is. And that's my current understanding, but it is still developing.
Fantastic. As you rightly said, values are flexible and they change as we get our experiences, but we'll learn about that more. Dr. Chitra was trying to say something. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what I was trying to say is basically we do believe in a lot of integrity, punctuality, honesty, all that. But for me, the core value is something that I will do even when nobody is watching. When people are there watching you, you behave in a certain manner. Sometimes you feel that, okay, even if I just take this, nobody will know because there's nobody around. But that's your core values. If your core value is honesty, then even when there is nobody, you will not do it. So values and beliefs, and of course, they do change with situation, with time, and even when you're interacting with certain people, because then you have to adjust accordingly.
Fantastic. These were some really excellent responses. And let me begin by tell you, as you know, I think our first speaker, our first contributor said that, I value punctuality. Just think about it. And you also value that your team members and whoever you're working with also value punctuality. And, they value time. They do things on time. They show up on time. Now just think about the instances where they don't. They are not punctual. Punctuality is not one of their values. And, they do things in their own time. They take their own time, but they complete the task, but not necessarily the same way as you perceive value, as you perceive punctuality. Like Dr. Chitra said, some people may have values where some of your team members may tell you or may have come across as punctual people in interviews or when you were selecting them. But eventually they just don't value punctuality so much, so as much as they value finishing their task or accountability. As Reena said, that, I believe in being accountable, in being responsible, where if I have been given a task, I'll complete it. And I would not like to be, bound by, she's not said that, but a lot of people would say that I'm not necessarily bound by the time or showing up at 9 a.m. to actually do my job, but I will get the job done for sure. And some people have different values like, reliability and things like that. But just think about it, when these values are violated, when these values, whatever values that we are holding, when they don't, when other people are not actually doing it the way you want it, what happens to you? So if I could ask our first speaker, who's right now not on my screen, Amarjeet ji. So when your team members are not punctual, how does it make you feel?
I will feel disturbed, and I may try to show my arrogance or annoyance with my behavior, that I don't like people, those who are not coming in time or not measuring up to my expectation. So slowly, then I have to teach them, guide them, because my job is on a leadership role. So I have to take some other steps. I'll make them realize that what is the importance of coming in time, completing projects in time. And I think then we have to take them on board, because we cannot throw away my team members. I have to take them along. I have to train them. Like now I'm getting trained myself so that I can take up the higher responsibility. And similarly, I can guide my team members. That's my answer on this question.
Correct. So if I could actually summarize, basically whenever we get angry, we don't get angry immediately when our values are violated. What happens is that the first few times we even show tolerance. We have a little bit of tolerance and we may show tolerance and we may hope for things to change. But over a time, when patterns are repeated or when, your values are repeatedly violated, like if you value punctuality or if Our other participant, Reena, values accountability. And if people are not displaying those values who are associated to you, it actually, like Amarjit ji said, it actually starts disturbing you. You must have noticed that, if you value honesty and somebody just comes and lies to you, or you may be honest in front of, like Dr. Chitra said, you may be honest in front of people, you may show integrity in front of people, but if no one's watching, you may just, take the office stapler and put it in your bag thinking, yaar, office ke paas bahut paise hai. Just giving an example, or just picking up like those small U pins, which is, even if it's a part of integrity, we all know office supplies can be just, sometimes picked up for personal use. And but a person who really, really values integrity will not do that. Will actually make sure that all the office stationery is listed and kept properly, and will not ever try to exploit the office funds by just taking something. So these are different kind of values, they are different kind of people with different kind of, as Balan sir had said, that, how you perceive integrity might be very different than how someone else perceives integrity. And that is what values actually form in our life. Like, how are we making these decisions, and what is helping us in making these decisions? While I'll come back to this entire topic of what makes us angry and why do we get angry, there is a really interesting story which I would want to share with all of you. I hope I have all yours right now, because this is a really interesting story. So once upon a time, there was a prince who was now eligible to get married in a few years. So the king really wanted that, his prince, his charming, his, the apple of his eyes, his prince should get a bride, a princess who is very rich with values. And he really wanted that his prince should get a wife who is, who's very, very value based and very nice and cultured and everything. So after a rigorous process, he got lists of princesses from all, around the kingdom, around his kingdom. And from many kingdoms, he invited proposals from many kingdoms. And after the rigorous process, he shortlisted 3 princesses that he thought were eligible for his son. Now he said, how will I decide between these 3? So he personally went on a journey where he went and met each one of them. Now, on this journey, when he reached the first princess, he went and he saw her, he liked how she looked, and then he gave her 1 crore rupees. Now, this was a modern prince, okay? So this was a very relevant from almost like 10-15 years ago. So this king, he gave this princess 1 crore rupees and said, do whatever you want to do with this. This is your money. But I will ask you after 2 years what you did with it. Now, similarly, on his journey, he went and he met the second princess and did the same thing. He gave her 1 crore rupees and said, this is your money. Do whatever you want to do with it. And I will meet you after 2 years in my palace. And I'll ask you what you did with the money, but you're free to do whatever. It's your decision what you want to do with it. And then he went to the third princess and he said the same thing. He repeated the same this thing that, go ahead and do whatever you want to do, but here is 1 crore rupees and I'll meet you after 2 years. Now 2 years passed and he invited all of these 3 princesses to his palace. And now this was a great event where all his kingdom were, all the ministers of his kingdom were present, all the important people in decision-making were present. And of course, our charming prince, the apple of the eye of the king, was also present. Now the king asked, the 3 princesses were invited, were taken care of and everything. And on the day of the event, all the 3 princesses stood there in front of the king and the prince. And the king asked them, what did you do with the money? So the first princess said, you gave me the money and I really believe in helping other people and empowering the underprivileged. So I took the 1 crore and I actually donated it to a village in my kingdom where we built houses for the underprivileged and the poor. And I also built hospitals and colleges, schools so that people can also, have these facilities. And in these hospitals and schools, I also made sure that the villagers got some kind of employment so that they could make a living for themselves. Hearing this, the king was ample impressed. He was like, wow, she's a really nice girl. And she has philanthropy and she has this, sense of service to her kingdom. And he glanced at the prince, and he saw that the prince was also very impressed, and he was actually looking at the princess very admiringly. So then he moved on to the second princess and he asked her, can you tell me what did you do with the money? And she said, yeah, what I did was I really believe in, that everyone should have a right over God, and everyone should have right to be spiritual. So she built a temple and an ashram, which was a refuge for destitute people in the kingdom. And she made sure that the temple management was taken care by these destitute people, just to create a sense of equality in her kingdom. Now the king was even more impressed. He was like, wow, this girl is also full of values, where she believes that she's going to, promote equality. She's going to encourage people to respect each other, and everyone's going to get a right to, have their own spiritual journey. So he was impressed. And again, he just glanced at the prince, looking at this princess also very admiringly, and, just checking her out completely. And then he moved on to the third princess and asked her, what did you do? She said, what I did was I spent some of it, and then I decided that I will invest it into some schemes. And today I stand with your money increased by 10 times. And now I have decided that I'm also going to, contribute and donate it to people in my kingdom for their betterment. And I'm going to also have some money to just make my life better and build something beautiful for myself. The king thought, my God, this girl is very intelligent. She also has the service. She has a sense of service, philanthropy, and she's smart. She invested her money. So he was impressed by all three of them. And he again just, quickly glanced at the prince and saw what was she doing? How is he taking all of this? And he was also looking at the third princess with a lot of awe, and he was admiring her, and he just kept on glancing at all the three princesses. Now the entire kingdom, the entire ministry was waiting for who will the king or the prince decide to be the next, the princess or the wife of this charming young prince. So the king said, I leave this decision upon my prince. And he looked at the prince and said, so tell me, my dear son, who do you select to be your wife? The prince smiled and then went close to his father, and in his ear he whispered, I like that girl who has that really beautiful figure. So, all the work he did for 2 years, looking for values, he did not know that his son values just beauty and aesthetics. He is only interested in looking at something that's really pretty to the eyes. Now, coming back to, I was listening to how Amar actually introduced values yesterday, about what we were talking about, why we get angry. Now, generally, what he said, quoting it, also using my own words to quote you, Amar. Now, generally, we are not happy, or we are in a sad state or an unresourceful state. And as Amarjit ji said, he would feel distressed or he would feel disturbed when someone does not follow the value that he has. And a lot of us actually feel that way. And whenever our values are violated, we feel angry. Whenever you have been angry, sad, or frustrated in your life, just think about it. Just take a moment and think about the times when you have been angry, when you have been sad, or when you have been frustrated by someone's action, by someone's words, or when you're speculating someone's intentions and thoughts. And you've just been like very, you're not been happy with their system of thinking. It's because some of your values were violated at that time. because some of your values were not aligned with what was happening in front of you. Also, it's also, as Amar said, it's another level of self-awareness, because sometimes we are not aware only what our values are, and then we just go ahead with it and we just continue in a state of sadness or in a state which is not resourceful for us, which is frustration or being dejected, whichever it is, but it is not a resourceful state where you can be creative, productive, or be yourself completely. Only in your happiest state or in a state where you're feeling proud or you're feeling satisfied are the states where you're actually your truest self. Does everyone agree to that? Right? Whenever we, yes. So, also we were talking about how a lot of us, Amar was saying this yesterday, and I heard it, that a lot of us have kids who are, probably 6-year-old, 10-year-old, 9-year-old, growing children, or even older children for that matter. It is important that we, give them all the exposure, or we show them everything so that they can decide what they love the most. They can decide what to pursue that is actually of their interest. Now, why is it that important? And all of us being Indians will realize that most of the typical Indian parents value a lot of education and security and government jobs, if I may say. And if not government jobs, then the two most inspiring and most encouraging options, or the most sought for options, are become an engineer or become a doctor. Now, in the span of the 4 decades that I have been, almost 4 decades that I have been in this world, I have realized that most engineers are not happy with the decision. Most engineers believe their parents just push them into that decision so that they can get a respected job, or they can. Now, most of the engineers who are in my friend circle, who are in the branding and designing friend circle, are either writers or musicians or trainers. What do you say, Amar?
Yes, I'm a trainer, I'm an engineer, and 4 years of engineering taught me that I'm not made for engineering. That's what I learned from 4 years.
So that is something that, our parents just left, right, and center without any thought or consideration for what the child values, push the child into a career or a choice of career that probably isn't their area of interest. And that is why it is important that we find out what are the values that are actually dictating our lives, what are the values that are motivating us to do what we are doing, to take the decisions that we are taking. Also, the decisions we take are mostly dependent on what we value the most, as I said. And values change with our experiences. And values change with what we know more. So whatever we know or whatever we are exposed to, we only value that. And Amarjit ji, if I could just use your example, and don't mind me saying this, but a lot of people, as you would have also experienced, because you look like a person who has experience of, who has a good professional experience, rich professional experience, you would have realized that even though you value punctuality, you would have come across people who actually do their task but are just, unable to be punctual. And I actually have one of my HR managers in the audience today who would agree to that. Miss Lena Lopez, that how, I could never be punctual. I really tried being punctual, but I always believed in accountability. So I would finish my task, but I would just, no matter, for the love of God, I just could not be punctual and reach on time. And that is how value systems change. And she also realized over a period of time, the initial years, she was very rigid about it, if I may say. But initially, she consequently, she realized that, okay, fine, you do what you have to do anyway. So it's okay. Whatever you want to do. So that is how, and humor this. Most of our decisions that we make, okay, just think about this now. This is something more important, that most of our decisions that we make, not all of them, most of them are based on 5 things. They're either based on attraction, they're either based on influence, They're either based on instructions or requirements, or they're based on imitation. Now just think about it. You get attracted to something or someone, infatuated by an idea, and you may pursue it while leaving your self-interest behind, but just being attracted and infatuated and really thinking that, yeah, I want to do this, and you just begin that journey. Or someone just, instructed that you have to do this. And mostly this is for younger people, where they are instructed to do something, like the ones who are pushed into careers that are not of their choices, for security or for better jobs or so on and so forth. Or you may, get influenced by someone. And so many times it happens that we are on social media and we keep looking at things, and we are, through the algorithm, we are pushed into buying products that probably are not necessary and things that we had not thought about. But we end up buying them anyway and then regretting it later. Or worse, we just end up imitating someone because someone looks very, they talk in a certain way or they wear certain clothes. And we just go ahead and imitate them and try doing the same thing. But all of these decisions, if you think about it, in the longer run, all of these decisions, the outcome, you will feel either frustrated or you will feel disconnected, because you did not actually think of what is important to you. You went away, you went with the flow of attraction or influence or instruction and requirement. So many people take up jobs that are paying high salaries, but they're finding it difficult to just, do that job because, you know what, I'm doing it for the salary. So a lot of people just find it very difficult, and they're most frustrated. They know that their attraction is the salary, but the day-to-day process just, wears them down, exhausts them, and they're just not happy. Even if they make themselves believe that the salary or the compensation is going to make me happy and, pay for all my luxuries or needs, at the end of it and at the core of it, then they don't feel happy. They're frustrated, and that frustration comes out in many others. From the professional frustration, it will come out in their personal, social, or emotional life. Similarly, if you've chosen a partner where, let me give you an example of this friend who's married into a very rich family. Now, this family has a family-owned business of real estate. Now, when they did the background check, and this was an arranged marriage, of course, she also comes from a very affluent family. And their family had, in her family, it was all about values, and her parents were academically very, very well off. And they had actually earned a lot of accolades in the academic field. And this girl went on to falling in love with this boy from a rich family, which actually ran a real estate business. Now, she joined the business because she was, of course, she had the potential, and the entire family believed that her joining the business will add a lot of value. Now, the poor thing, she joined the business, and right after a week or two, she saw how they deal with the employees. She saw how they actually get the contracts. And for her, it was a lot of corruption. It was a lot of bad practices which she did not believe in. She believed in respecting people for their work, for their hard work, for showing up, for doing their work. But these people just, she believed that these people were exploiting people by, pushing them to boundaries that were not necessary, to disrespecting people or not acknowledging people for their efforts, in short. Now, while she was madly in love with the boy, these things in the business really created a, disharmony within, where she just started feeling like, what is, every day she would want to wake up and go and join the business and, work around and add value to the business. But it was just not happening for her. She was just not feeling happy. She's like, why are we even doing this? And then there was this another friend who, she actually came from a family where everyone contributed in the household chores. And she fell in love with, and these guys are still married. Huh? So this girl also got married to a guy who was whose family did not believe in contributing to the household chores, and they believed in the superwoman version of girls, where the girl should earn money as well as take care of the household chores. Now, for her, it was so difficult to even accept this. Now, it's not like these families were bad families. It's just that their values were very, very different from what this girl's values were. Right? Now, there are risk-taking values, there are core values. Some of our core values are, security. Some of our core values are risk-taking. Now, these people took their risk and they went ahead and married people without doing their proper search on whether the family values are setting in or not, whether it's working for them or not. But, some people also have a very, very strong core value for security, and some people have a very strong core value for risk taking. Now, these people who are, whose core values are security, who want to be secured, the kind of job they'll do, they will want the fixed income to come so that they don't have to worry where will the next day's bread come from. But there are some people who are risk takers at heart, who will, no matter what, they will not worry about, what will happen on a day-to-day basis, but they will actually have the vision for the greater this thing. They'll think that, yeah, if I take the risk, I may end up earning more. Maybe I'll not earn a day or two, but eventually, you never know, I may hit the jackpot and I may just end up earning really well. And that is the difference when these people who are, security seeking, whose core values are security, when they enter businesses, it becomes very difficult for them to sustain the business or to even go ahead without the idea of having that secured income on a regular basis. Now, let's do a very simple exercise. As you know, I'm going to take Dr. Chitra's cue, what she said in the beginning, that, what you are and who you are when you are alone are your core values. Now, since none of us are we are not sitting next to each other, so we're not going to talk and discuss this. So each one of you can do this activity on your own and think about it. That's more of an introspection than really an activity. I really want you all to just think about this. I'm going to ask you a few set of questions. Now, let's say you have just left your house and you're walking towards a shop to buy something. Now, you're on the road and suddenly you see a 1 rupee note lying on the ground. Now, when you see that 1 rupee note, now I don't need answers necessarily. And if someone wants to answer, I would be very happy and I would be very glad. And you can write your answers in the chat. But what would you do if you see that 1 rupee note on the ground? Now, some of you may say that I may ignore it, or some may just pick it up and give it to a beggar, or some may just pick it up and put it in their pocket. Whichever it is, I want you to individually think about it, that when you're walking on the road and you see that 1 rupee note, what will you do? Now, similarly, another day, you're walking out of your house and you see a 10 rupee note lying over there. Now, what will you do? Again, you'll walk by. That's great. Now, what if it was a 100 rupee note? And now, similarly, pick and give it to the beggar. Very good. Now, what if it was a 2000 rupees note? Take and give it to needy. Walk by. But some of you who are not answering might also say that it's a bloody 2000 rupee note. I'm just going to take it. Someone left it. It is their irresponsibility. It is not for me to judge whether that person is responsible or whether it's for the needy. It's a 2000. And what if you saw a complete bunch of 100 rupees note lying? Someone just dropped a bunch of, the bundle of notes. It's a good thought that you will donate, but think about where exactly, as Ashish has contributed, that maybe at that moment, the value may break a little. You look for the owner of the bundle of notes who has long gone away. Now you've come for an early morning walk. This person has left the money last day. You can't find the owner. Just think about these things. Now, thank you so much for... Thank you, Saurabh. Pick it up. Check if anyone is looking for it. Not, then I will take it as a blessing. See, a lot of our values change, modify based on the situation, which also takes us to the next step where, while we talked about the conflicting values, where when you understand what your values are and when you actually elicit the list of values, you will realize that a lot of these values are also, you can compromise or sacrifice some of your values so that, for a blessing maybe, or, I'll just take it then. If I don't know who the owner is, and there's a bundle of notes, I'll just take it as a blessing that God wanted me to have the money. And some may still walk by. Right? And also, at this point, I'll tell you what, to explain this, let me tell you an instance that happened very recently with one of my friends who has been in this job for 6 years now. He is a project head. He was hired as a project head and he's still a project head for the last 6 years. While he has been given a variety of jobs and different kinds of responsibilities, he has also realized that for the last 6 years, he has not had a proper performance evaluation. He has not been given a promotion really, and he has just been given a variety of different kind of responsibilities. And to top that up, the boss that he's reporting to is, how can I say this politely? Is not a very resourceful person, is not a person who keeps his moods or his, his respect elements in check. So he ends up being very angry with this person. He ends up humiliating him a lot for small mistakes. And this friend of mine, he was very frustrated. For the last 6 years, we've been hearing him crib about this boss and crib about the job and not having enough evaluation and saying that, if I just go out and look for a job, I'm going to get it. And yet this person was not, putting down. And this one fine day, it was his last thread. He believed it was the last, last nail on the coffin, where this boss started screaming at him in front of the entire staff. And he decided at the end of the day that tomorrow morning, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put down my resignation. Now, tomorrow morning was a Saturday, Sunday, so 2 days passed by. And on Monday morning, when he reached the office, he had the resignation letter in his hand and he was walking into his boss's cabin. And as he opened the door, the boss got up and he came to my friend and he shook his hand and said, "Congratulations. The company has seen value in your work and your efforts. And having seen that, we have decided to give you a 25% raise." Now, what do you think? I would ask all of you, what do you think? What did my friend do? Did he still give his resignation or did he take the raise? You can speak, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Give resignation.
Yeah, he must have given resignation.
No, he actually accepted it because 25% of what he was earning was a lot of money. So he thought, why not just be flexible with a little bit of humiliation? He's not my father or my friend. If he's saying something, it is his mind. His entire perspective changed and he became very behaviorally flexible about the little disrespect that this person is. He's a knowledgeable person, so sometimes he may get irritated. It's really all right. So that is how flexible our values are. And since my time is up, I'm going to conclude the session. Amar, if I may just take 5 more minutes, where I would want to just help you all at the end of this session, where we've talked about values and what are conflicting values and what values are we able to sacrifice or, compromise and move on and then change our value system completely, or maybe we were not aware. So what I want you to do is, let's unearth the process of how we find our values. Imagine a time when you were, extremely dissatisfied or extremely angry with someone. Just imagine it. Not necessarily I need a response, but you may just, if you want to share, you're most welcome. Think about a time when you were extremely angry and frustrated. And just like go back to that time and see what you saw, who were the people involved, what was happening in that situation that really ticked you off. Now, that would be the reason, the opposite of that would be a core value. For example, if you got really angry at some employee of yours or some subordinate of yours who took a decision that was not, did something really wrong, was not accountable enough to check things before submitting. And it created a huge impact on the profitability of the business. That might have ticked you off, their silliness or their lack of attention to details. Or, someone might have talked behind your back. Someone might have been dishonest to you. And you probably have a value as honesty, where you value honesty, and you would have just not appreciated someone being dishonest. Or, when, like I said, like when someone talks behind you, maybe you had a value where you really believe in having integrity for yourself and for others. So that may have, created. So at this point, think about that. Also, think about what made you, like, think about one instance that made you really, really happy. That, where you were, what you were doing made you very happy, very satisfied and content. Now, when you think about that instance, think about every detail. Think who were the people involved, what made you happy, what made you feel satisfied. And then these are the list of values. And most importantly, when you create this list of values, look at them, check them, and then think what will happen for you to compromise one of these values and what would motivate you to do otherwise. Right? And with that, I hope an NLP, by the way, in the master practitioner of Neuro Linguistic Programming, we have a very comprehensive process of eliciting values, which is, I think, very important when you are taking a new decision. And with that, I will conclude my session and invite questions if there are any. Thank you, people. You have been an excellent audience, by the way. I love the contributions and interactions.
Saumya,
Yes.
the last sentence, what will happen to compromise one of your values, and what is this other thing that you said?
So just think about it from that instance, that all these values that you have listed down, that, okay, what makes me happy, what makes me content, and what makes me satisfied, or what makes me proud. So there would be a list of elements that, contribute to making your values. Now, supposing you have all of these values in place and something happens where you have to decide otherwise. And then you have to think, what are these things that happen which help you compromise or which lead you to compromise or sacrifice your value? Right?
Okay.
Or what could you replace?
Saumya, hi, this is Pragya. And firstly,
Pragya.
thank you for the wonderful session.
Most welcome.
And secondly, I would like to ask a question. So when you said that the values are sacrificed or compromised, what I understand is that maybe why that was sacrificed was because some weightage was given to some other value. So
Correct.
yeah, so when we are going to do NLP, because I'm also planning to do that,
Correct.
do we give weightage to certain values? For example, I found it very interesting when you told about that resignation and the money raise point. So I think that maybe for your friend, the raise in money was a higher value. He placed maybe higher weightage on that as compared to the misbehavior.
So since it's my friend and I know him personally, I would just like to, I will let you finish what you're saying.
Yeah.
For the last 6 years, he's also getting a lot of projects that actually interest him. And now he also got the 25% raise. So now what the humiliation that he was getting from this boss became very minimal for him. He started compromising on, like, ठीक है, थोड़ा बहुत disrespect कर लेता है, but he's not my relative, so he doesn't know who I really am, so why worry? And his entire perspective, he just became very flexible with his perspective of what was not working for him till Friday night after
Correct.
that 25% raise. Yes. And he discovered that he actually values security, and he values the luxury that he's going to be able to afford with this 25% raise.
Yeah,
No,
I
but
found
I
it
think
very interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
no,
No,
I'm
I
sorry to
someone else.
interrupt. I just wanted to say that
Yes, sir.
he may have taken that decision based upon what he valued at that point in time or what he thought he valued. But if he continued to remain unhappy about that aspect of being humiliated, then that value would have shown up also.
Absolutely. And I'll completely update you guys once he decides again, once this 25% raise also becomes very normal for him after a few weeks. And then I am very sure that this entire thing that was irritating him will again erupt and show up in his entire process. So that is true, Balancer. You very rightly said.
Yeah. So you mentioned about finding out various values, which I
Yes.
was doing. But then how do you give weightage to these different values? Is there a process to that as well?
Yes, there is a very, very comprehensive process too. So when we are actually doing a value elicitation process, it's a lengthy process, and it's it's not a very surface level process. It's a process where we actually introspect a lot. We find out first, even when you're listing it out, you may end up with a list of 30, 40, 50 values. So in NLP, we actually end up eliciting a hierarchy, which are your top core values. So in NLP, the process is to find out the top 10 top 10 core values of a person, of an individual. And we do that with the process of finding out what is more important. So if you have put in your list that, honesty and luxury, both are important, for example, for an instance, then we actually have a process where we help you find out whether, if in a particular incident, what if on you got the luxury more and you had to compromise a little with honesty. So it's an entire process where we actually weigh each and every value, and then we create our top 10 core value list.
Got it. Thank you.
So
Most
I have two questions.
Yes,
Can I?
Balaji. Yes.
And I'm not expecting that you will give me an answer to these now, not because you do not know. I don't want to take up everybody's time, but I will just raise these 2 points. One is that my initial observation that the same value word can have different connotations, and our beliefs about them or our interpretations of that value could be different. So integrity, nobody will say integrity is not important, but what is integrity to me may not be same as for you. The second
Absolutely.
important point which I had is, in some of the discussions which I had, people said, if you want to change somebody, don't approach it at the behavior level, but approach it at the value level. And that is how you can get the thing done. So I would like to understand how that can be done. So I'll leave these 2 points here, but then
I can quickly just address it, if not completely, because this takes for a longer discussion, and maybe if we meet sometime, we can have a longer discussion. But if we could go back to the session conducted by Amarendra Bahubali over here, our Amarendra Chitale. He discussed about the human communication model, if you remember, and on how the world is a reflection. Whatever you're perceiving, you're projecting. And as you rightly said, what you may perceive as integrity may be different to what I perceive as integrity. So that's all right. But NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, is basically about, understanding yourself. So when you're actually eliciting values, what you're doing is you're understanding yourself, and those core values are only special and particular to your own self. So when you know your own, of how what makes you work, that becomes the guiding dictum of your life. So if you know your list of values, then you will make choices that are aligned to your values. And that will help you with better decision making. I'm sorry, Falguni ma'am, you had your hand. So Balancer, I hope I've addressed it, even though not completely.
thank you. I'll connect with you. I liked it, but I'll have to follow up.
Yes. Falguni ma'am, I
So,
think you had raised your hand. We have 3 more minutes only. So please.
Yes, so like what I understood is like most of the time, till we don't know elicitation of values, we are unconscious about our values that we carry. And
Absolutely.
once we know and become aware about it, is it possible that it becomes so rigid? You know, when we are aware, we try to follow it more when we try to align with it. And the flexibility goes away, and that creates problems rather than solving.
So that's also in a way saying that if I become self-aware, I may reject a lot of new experiences. But the idea is by knowing your values, by actually being aware of what motivates you to take decisions, you will actually take decisions. And of course, life is a long time. It's a journey. So if something doesn't fall in our favor, we always make changes. We are all social animals who adapt to changes, and we change what doesn't work for us. But when there are repeated changes, when there are repeated decisions that are not falling in our favor, it is the time to actually reflect upon what are our values and what is it that is guiding our entire decision-making process. We'll take one last question by Subhashish Das. Yes, my friend, tell me.
hi, Saumya, good evening. Yeah, it's a very light question and a very basic question. So, coming back to the foundation, there is a very thin line between trait as in trait or characteristics, and values. And when there is a conflict of characteristics, a lot of people take it as a conflict of values, right? So, I just take your example of king finding a bride for his prince. Probably he was not looking for values; he was probably looking for traits, right? So investing, compassion, these are some of and probably all the three brides had the same values. Probably he was looking more on the characteristic side and not on the value side. Is
His
that
values were different than his father's, if we can
yeah?
summarize. Yes.
Yeah, so basically, no, so yeah, the values could be different, but the basically somebody taking characteristics as values, right? So like say I'm a good investment, responsible with money is not. I do you see that as value, or do you see that as a character or a trait of a person that is good with money? Yeah, on the inside, probably I'm more responsible with the money, maybe not investing. I'm just keeping it on an FD, right, rather than making it grow.
Again, as we say in Neuro Linguistic Programming and NLP, that each one to their own. And you may find now we may have very different ways of investing our money, and I may believe in FDs as a security, while some people I know may invest their money in stocks, which is a risk taking
Right.
again. So that
Right.
again depends on now if you're taking that decision based on someone that you know of, that they are investing in stock, so I'll also invest in stock. Now that may not really work for you, but if you value the entire risk-taking process of investing in stocks, then you may actually go ahead and do it. But if you're just stuck in it like I am, I actually went into the stock market looking at some friends, and then I just got very, very stuck because I didn't know heads and tails of how to go ahead with it. So now someone else handles it for me. And with that, thank you for all your questions. And I hope, Subhashish, I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Amar, over to you.
Okay, yes,
Thank
that
you.
was a wonderful session by Saumya, and it was really insightful for me. I'm sure it was insightful for everyone. And of course, you can connect with Saumya if you have more questions going ahead. And the best way of connecting with her is her phone number. Okay. So
I am typing in the chat box now.
yeah, and of course,
I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
no, I'm just saying that, and that is another way by which you can connect with her. That's on social media. That's Instagram. Okay, she has a very unique name on Instagram, which I would not like to say, but maybe Saumya
Why
can say.
not? Mama
Why?
Bear. So,
Yeah.
incidentally, why I have that is when I was a Royal Enfield ambassador, I was almost at the verge of becoming an influencer where I started doing it solo trips and documenting it. But unfortunately, my Instagram and Facebook accounts got hacked. And then eventually, for a year, I didn't have these accounts. And my son became a teenager and came onto Instagram and Facebook. And I only came onto Instagram and Facebook to stalk him and keep a track of his activities. And that is why I'm Mama Bear Somi. Somi is something that my loved ones call me. So that's my account, my handle on Instagram and YouTube. On Facebook and LinkedIn, you will find me with this name, Somi Das, SAUMYDAS. And thank you, Amar, for giving me
Yes.
the opportunity and also taking this initiative once again.
Thank you so much.
And all the
And
best, Arav. That he's a wonderful speaker, by the way. I'll leave that on to Amar.
yes, so now is the time for our next speaker, and his name is Raju Arumugam. Okay, but we love him so much that we call him Ara. Okay, now Ara is in ARA. Okay, now Ara is one person. I've just met him, I think, 8 months or 10 months ago. Okay, and the kind of knowledge that he has, not only in NLP but in so many other topics and related topics, is it's phenomenal. I think, and that's because he reads so much, he follows so many great people, and he has this. Ara is like a sponge. You put him somewhere, where there is knowledge, and he'll take all of that knowledge within him, and he'll make sure that he will give that knowledge generously to others. And that's why he's our next speaker today. He's going to be speaking about so what is he going to speak about? Wisdom from multiple perspectives of life. But before we do that, I'd just like to click a picture, okay? Because I've noticed that towards the end of the session, okay, we just start losing people, and then people come up to me and say that I'm not there in the picture. Okay.
Why doesn't everyone just put their videos on for the
Yeah,
picture,
please put on
please?
your camera so that we can have a picture
A
first, and
humble
then
request.
yeah. So that everybody's there in the picture at the end of it, and I don't get sad faces at the end of it. I was not there in the picture. Okay, if everybody can click their switch on their cameras. Yes, good boys and girls, very nice. Okay, so I'm going to click a picture now. Smile to the best of your abilities. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Don't go away anywhere. Okay. And 1 minute, once more. Smile again. There you go. Now,
Oh, it's fading.
sorry.
No, you are asking me to smile for a long period of time,
Okay. So now over to Ara, and this topic is also quite interesting, how you can get wisdom through multiple perspectives. NLP language, we call it perceptual positions. Over to you, Ara.
Amar, thank you so much. Thank you very much for that kind of introduction you give. Always, gives the person who you are introducing a different perspective. All right. So that way, I'm seeing this way for the first time. That is how, you introduce any speaker. Thank you so much for, that generosity. Okay. Now let me open my screen here and introduce this topic by sharing my screen. Hopefully you all see my screen.
I just see Ara has started screen sharing.
Okay. Started sharing now?
Yeah, I think it'll take some time because, now we can see it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. It is slow like me.
No, right. It is faster than how much time my wife took to say yes to marry me. Okay.
Oh.
So clearly it is faster than that. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. People, thank you very much and wonderful to meet you all. And I know that this is the last session for the day, 9 to 10. I know that, how difficult it is that I am in between you and your dinner, right? I know if I don't close it at the right time, that I know there is a possibility that I'll become your dinner, right? So clearly understanding that, I wanted to keep it as crisp as possible. And
Actually, this
also,
is virtual.
this is virtual, yeah, but of course, virtual dinner, right? Okay. Yeah. Something which is very, very simple and, very simple and simply complex. That's what I used to say. There are concepts like, these NLP concepts, which NLP is called the applied psychology. In applied psychology, what happens, it becomes really difficult to find right words to communicate the complex parts of human experiences that is appealing to the general masses that they could comprehend. So this is one such topic. It appears to be very simple, and we have all been using this all our life, but we are putting it into a kind of framework. That is what I'm going to do in the next 45 minutes or so. So this is the time we are going to use for that. But before starting, I would like to just start with a story. A father and a 9-year-old daughter, both of them are going for a shopping. The father is leaving the daughter near the cash counter, and father is entering inside the shopping mall. And it is a departmental store, and he goes inside and he purchases things, and then he comes back. At the cash counter, when he was about to pay, daughter was telling father, Dad, I wanted these puppy dogs, which are for sale here. So I want that puppy. The shopkeeper is telling, no, that puppy is not for sale. You can pick up any other puppies, and this puppy is not for sale, and nobody buys that puppy, so we have not put a price tag to it, so that is not for sale. You can buy any other puppy. But this girl was so adamant, and she was telling, I need only that puppy, I want only that puppy, I don't want any other puppies. And then shopkeeper found it difficult convincing her. And then he told, okay, you can take it. No, I will charge some minimum fees. Like that, he took little money and then gave that puppy to that girl. When they were passing, they were just going outside the door. Only then the shopkeeper noticed something really touching. What he has noticed, I'll come back to you later. And here I am. No, my name is Raju Arumugam. You may call me Ara. Why Ara? Is an interesting thing. In fact, I was working in northern part of India. When people came and asked me what is my name, I used to tell my name is Arumugam. They will not be able to pronounce my name as Arumugam. They'll say Arumugam. No, I say it is Arumugam. You tell me your full name. Then I'll say my name is R. Arumugam. What is this R. Arumugam? They could not understand that also. One of my friends, who is senior colleague, he said, boss, your name is very difficult to pronounce here. I'll call you Mugambo. So what happened, in that part of, my company, people started calling me Mugambo. I was okay as long as they called me Mugambo. But they called my wife Mrs. Mugambo. Then I was worrying, if it goes like this, then my entire family will become a Mugambo family. Do I want to continue this, or should I do something else? It was then I decided, okay, let me put the first words of my name, first letters of my words, Arumugam Raju. So I took that as Ara. From then onwards, I didn't face any problem in India. But of course, in abroad, I have faced another problem that is different. I'm not sharing here. So that is why, this is Zara. Thank you so much for being here. I am an NLP trainer, and I authored two books. One is a novel, and the other book is on human resources. That is in actually Tamil. I have written it in my own language. I am a Fulbright scholar and a Humphrey Fellow from the United States of America. I thank Miss Olga Buchko, who's my fellow Humphrey Fellow, who's joined here from the USA. And I started this company called Looking Glass HR Private Limited for the past 4 years. I'm running this company. I conduct training programs for the companies. I'm a corporate trainer, and I guest lecture a few business schools here. What is highlight is what I want to highlight is this 33 years of experience. 33 years of experience in various places, in all over the country and abroad, and various companies cutting across public sector, private sector, IT companies to FMCG companies. That is what is my profile. Okay, thank you so much for giving this opportunity to share my perspectives on something very, very interesting for all of us. Okay, on the topic. Experiences, we do try to understand the other person's perspective. What for? What is the objective? Why we should understand other person's perspective? Is it to change another person? That's what Buddha says. You cannot change anybody unless otherwise they themselves want to change. Now, in that case, why should I understand another person's perspective? Let me take you to a few of my life examples. This union leader comes to me with a problem in his hand. In fact, he wanted a salary advance, and he comes much before the salary advance is supposed to be paid. And I told, no, I cannot give you my answer like this. I should have thought, why Syed requires money. Syed is normally will not come for money. So he called back Syed again, and then asked, why do you need money, Syed? Then he told, sir, my daughter is a thalassemia patient. She requires an injection shot every month. Till last month, she was covered under ESI. This month, she is not covered under ESI. I have to give her this injection shot. Otherwise, there is a possibility that I may lose her. Just by looking at his perspective, I changed the entire meaning what I have derived from what I thought I will deny his salary advance. What I have done, I did some other adjustments, and I gave him his money. That is one thing. I'll go to another example. Another job in northern part of the country. That was, when I was very, very young, and very strict disciplinarian as a HR manager and personal officer. And I used to, when union people come to me for any negotiation or discussion, and I used to discuss with him. One of my other colleagues, he noticed me from somewhere, and he called me after that. And he told me, Ara, you are talking to the union leaders in a very aggressive manner. Can you put yourself in the shoes of union leaders and see how you are speaking? Think that, they are your mirror. If you're seeing inside a mirror, you won't like yourself, Ara. Think about it. He told that, and then he went away. It gave me an opportunity to relook into myself, and my self-awareness went up. And because of that self-awareness, I became more matured in the later part of my life. Another example I would like to give, this happened in Bangalore in the year 2001. That was a case. It was a simple case of a steward refusing a coffee to the general manager in the restaurant, and he was terminated on the spot. That case went for about 15 years in the High Court of Karnataka. I mean, it went to High Court through other lower courts. And in the High Court, there was a final argument. In fact, Kasturi was the advocate. If you know a little bit in Bangalore, Kasturi was a senior advocate, where when he enters the court, even judges will come in front of the seat, a little bit, because of such a senior stature of Kasturi. He was the advocate to argue on our behalf. 11 o'clock, the case started. Till lunchtime at 1 o'clock, he was arguing the case for that person who was terminated. He was telling, sir, the person cannot be terminated for a simple cause of refusing tea. How? He brings all the court cases of High Court of Madras, High Court of Kerala, High Court of Calcutta. All those cases he brings forward. Almost he argues exactly what other lawyer is going to argue. During the lunchtime, and he called me, he told me, Ara, what do you think? Do you think I'm arguing in the right lines? I told, sir, you are arguing exactly the opposite way. He said, wait and see. And then in another hour, the court resumed. He went back and he brought all his cases and he thrashed it one by one. Now, this is how lawyers do. Lawyers will have perspectives, different perspectives and different types of of interpreting the law. Conflict happens because we see things in a very, very different perspectives. We know in relationship, husband, wife, parent, child, teacher, student, employee, employer. Like this, we have perspective. We come together, and then we are trying to see only one perspective. That means we will be entering into a conflict. Okay, let me just take you to another very, very easy thing for us to resonate with. You don't understand me unless you put yourself in my shoes. You see my problems from my angle. If you want to know him or her, better look at the situation from his or her perspective. I think this will resonate with each one of us sitting here in this room. So this is very interesting that each one of us have done this in our past. We have put ourselves in different perspectives and try to understand the other person's perspective. That is what we might have done. So we need to have the topic itself, perceptual positioning. In perceptual positioning, you have two words. One is perception, the other is position. Let us try to understand what these two words are meaning of these two words. I think in the first place, when the first session, when Amar brought this out, he was talking about perspectives, and he was talking about there is something called there is your view, and there is my view, and there is a CCTV camera. And it is his favorite quote. He says, there is always views, there are perspectives. And when we say that, when my view, I see things in some ways. I hear things, what is happening in some ways. I smell in some ways. I feel in some ways. I taste in some ways. What about others? They have the same thing. When it becomes the same thing for other person, how to understand the other person better? By doing this, what are we doing for ourselves? By doing this, actually, we are heightening our self-awareness. We are expanding our thinking. We are having multiple perspectives, not one perspective, not two perspectives. We are having multiple perspectives. What does this multiple perspectives do to us? These multiple perspectives, in fact, gives you wisdom. We gain wisdom through these multiple perspectives. We think, feel others' perspectives from their map of the world. Oh, the new word, map of the world. Possible, if that question may come to our mind, is it possible to put actually in another person's mind? This is a concept called, six hats thinking by Edward de Bono. He tells that there are 6 perspectives we can think. This is a problem-solving tool. Of course, this is not an NLP concept, but this is a problem-solving tool by which he trains the mind to think in 6 different perspectives. White hat thinking only about information, black hat thinking only about the dangers, red hat thinking about only the feelings and hunches, yellow hat thinking only the values and benefits, green hat bringing all the creativity and solutions, blue hat thinking only about the processes and covering the planning. Now, each mind can be trained. Each brain can be trained to think in this way of this called parallel thinking, right? The directional thinking way. If our brain can be trained in 6 different perspectives, and let us approach this NLP, how we are using this in the NLP concept. Okay. Now you have seen, you would have seen that this is how a dining table is. Now, how this dining table will look like from the perspective of a child, the second picture is the answer. The glasses are big, the bottle is so big, and the table is so high, and your foot is not meeting the ground. And if you're sitting like that, if you're holding a glass, if you're taking a plate, if you're holding a knife, a long knife, and if you're holding a fork and a spoon, which is made for adult. Now, as an adult, you are feeling comfortable. If you have to actually feel how the children will feel, you have to actually go into their world to find out. And in parenting, one of the parenting workshops, and they put the parents inside a room where everything is huge. And then they say, now we understand what is the children's world, right? Now, this kind of understanding of others' perspectives, that will be really helpful for us to, improve our wisdom. Let us understand a little more about perspectives. There is a plane accident, and this comes in the newspaper. When it comes in the newspaper, how each people will read this news as? Now, assume that this newspaper is read by a lawyer. I'm not going to answer. I'm going to only throw these ideas, and it will run as an answer in your mind. Think how it will be read by a doctor. Think how this will be read by the owner of that aircraft. Think how this will be read by the mother of the pilot. Think that how this same news item will be read by the pilot who went late. Because of he was late, he did not fly that flight, and there's some other pilot flew that flight. This person has is escaped. Look at the perspectives. News is saying one news, multiple perspectives. Multiple perspectives from where it comes. That is very interesting to know. And the slides which are coming ahead will make you understand a little more. Now, perception, we say that every one of us think, act, behave the way we see ourselves, right? The way we see ourselves, that is what, we think and behave. Now, again, I think, when Amar was talking about the drawing, painting, when he told that human communication model, when he said that you go closer to the paint, you see only traces of the paint. And when you go a little farther, only then you are able to make what the painting is. Look at the rhino's perspective of a painting. Rhino can never see a scenery without looking it through the horn. So every picture a rhino is drawing will have that horn, right? So that is how you understand your perspective. When you are having your perspective, you cannot miss your own perspective, your own meaning, what you are deriving out of what you're seeing from outside, and a stimulus. Okay, let us understand, that everybody, is looking at things from a different perspective, whether this is 6 or 9, right? A person who is seeing 6 is 6. For him, it is 6. A person who is seeing this as 9, it is 9. My map is my map. Your map is your map. The map is not the reality. That is, again, another very important presupposition in NLP. Okay, that is one thing which we need to understand. Okay, now I'm going to make you to do a small exercise. Okay, I have been so monologue, I've been only doing lecturing. I hate myself doing this lecturing. I use always, in a training session, ask participants to participate. And in online session, it is becoming really challenge. Okay, so now I'm using this opportunity for you to come and participate. I made yourself into 2 groups. Group 1, the first name starting from alphabet A to N. Okay, I am going to see you if you open your videos, so see whether you are actually closing your eyes and are you doing like this and seeing. Okay. If your name is starting from A to N, please close your eyes. Please cooperate for the next 10 seconds, just 10 seconds. Okay. Just close your eyes. For rest of them, I'm going to show a picture. For rest of you whose name is not starting from A to N, those names who are starting from A to N, your first names, please close your eyes. Others, see this picture. I request you to see this picture for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much. So now, from the names who are starting from A to N, please close your eyes. Rest of you, from O to Z or beyond Z, anybody's name is there, I don't know. If it is there, please close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I'm going to show another picture to the other group. Please look at this picture for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. People, now all of you, please open your eyes. Just type in the chat box. If you see a rat, type 1. If you see an old man, type 2. In the chat box, if you see a rat, you type 1. If you see an old man, you type 2. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. All right. Superb. Thank you very much for the participation. Okay. Thank you very much for wonderful participation. You're all wonderful participants. Superb. Okay. So look at things, how this happens. In 10 seconds, I'm able to tweak your brain. What did I do? I showed one picture, this picture, to one group. And I showed this picture to another group. Now, those who have seen this picture, they are seeing that as old man. Those who have seen this picture are seeing this as a rat. I would like to just open for 4 comments here. I stop share and then, let me see the screen and then see 4 people can share because the time is very limited. Why this has happened?
Familiarity bias.
Great. Why this has happened?
As Balan sir has also written, and as I say, that because they were grouped like that, the context was like that.
Okay. 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 I was just moving my mouse on that picture, what you have to see, right? So if you would have noticed that, I was just moving the mouse, but still, when this picture was shown, we are not able to see only that picture. We are able to see with other pictures. And it took only 10 seconds for you to get a meaning out of what I'm showing. So there is a stimulus. From the stimulus, your brain is picking up data, and that it is adding a meaning. When it adds a meaning, it doesn't add a meaning just like that. It adds meaning with your belief, with your own values, like what Saumya has just finished, with your own values, with your own beliefs, with your own experience, with your own environment, your own education. With all these things, you are approaching any data which is happening outside. Okay, let me jump back. Let me jump back to the session with the video, the presentation. Let me go to the next slide. I can go for hours in the explaining this one, but we need to understand this. This is what is important for us to understand the topic of the day. The topic of the day is perceptual positions. How do we get our perceptions? That is why that picture was shown. Now we see anything that creates a subjective reality to us. Now, how objective is our subjective reality? That is what is interesting. Now we see our filters through our eyes, our filters through our ears, our filters through all our 5 sensory doors. That is what makes us to understand, we see things not as they are. We see things as we want it to be, right? Now, your biases, your opinions, your educations, your assumptions, your intentions, your experiences, all these things, you put a glass. And if you are wearing an yellow glass, everything is yellow. If you are wearing a black glass, everything is black. Now, that is how we get the perspective, right? Now, there is a normal perspective and there is an objective perspective. And any reality which is actually happening inside your brain is subjective reality. Any subjective reality is not an absolute reality, right? That understanding we should have. That means we have something to explore further, to understand, to get closer to the objective reality. Okay, that is what we need to understand. And this is another method of showing your human communication model, how deletion distortion happens and how that filters is doing job inside your brain, and how these 5 sensory doors are receiving the data from inside, and that creates your map. And that map is our subjective reality. If that map is our subjective reality, are we seeing, or when we are reacting to that subjective reality, are we reacting to the reality, or are we reacting to the subjective reality of our map? That is what is interesting for us to understand. From this kind of an understanding, we need to understand that map is not the territory. We will approach this subject called positions. Now we understood what is perspectives. Now let us go into positions. What is position? Positions are like this. Now, in NLP, this is used to tell that you can understand any topic from your shoes. You can understand the topics from another person's shoes. These are 2 primary positions we are understanding here. Now, I understand from my perspective what the other person understanding from their perspective. I have to look into that person's perspective. Okay. Now, when we do that, how this can be made as an intervention, how this can be used as a therapy. That is what NLP does. It is a great tool. Anybody can apply anywhere, be it railway station, be it a workstation, be anywhere this tool can be used. That is the flexibility of this tool. Okay, let me take you a little farther. Okay, and perceptual position is dissociation. Dissociation is you dissociate with yourself and then take the position of another person under trying to understand the other person's perspective. Okay, it is also a powerful visualization process. Okay, and it gives you alternative perspectives and more objective perspective, right? When you move into an alternative perspective, when you understand another person's perspective, it puts you in a better than before perspective, and you are becoming better, you are becoming wiser, your experience becomes more better, right? And it enlarges and expands your awareness, self-awareness about your own self, right? And you start think and feel from the map of others, right? You don't think and feel only what you think, what your map says, and also you think and feel what the other person's map also would say. Okay, so this is what this does is, this strengthens our understanding and empathy. Oh, this is another word, empathy. What is this empathy? Let us try to understand in next couple of slides. Okay, what is the benefit of perceptual positions? There are 4 interesting benefits here which I wanted to highlight. It increases your self-awareness and better understanding our own perception of the world, Okay, and this is again, it gives you an empathy, which is understanding from another person's perspective, and that is understanding of others, and strengthen the objective view of the situation. Right? It takes you closer. You know that whatever perspective you have is a subjective reality. From subjective reality, how you can get closer to an objective view, okay, of the situation. That it does. And it discovers a new perspective and insights into any situation or relationship, right? Fundamentally, any conflicting situations, fundamentally any situations which requires you to think transformationally, which requires a developmental perspective you want to see, and that is when this is applied, okay? Now let us try to understand this word. I used this word called empathy. Empathy is feeling for others or feeling as others. Feeling for others is sympathy. Feeling as others is empathy. I relate you to the first slide, the story which I told. I will not tell what the shopkeeper had seen. I will come back again in my last slide. But what is empathy, we will understand from that. Okay, feeling as others, right? That is what we need to understand. No, feeling as others means how it happens. Another person feels pain. I also get that pain. One person hits the nail on the hand. You also cringe. You do the sensory contagion. So there is something called emotional contagion. There is something called sensory contagion. And this happens all the time to us. Somebody hits his head. We also feel that, that pain is transferred to us. That is how this empathy works in human beings. Okay. Now, what is this empathy? Is all about putting yourself in other person's shoes. Now, people, sometimes I have to tell that I'm going to crack a joke. You have to laugh after this, okay? The joke is like this. Before criticizing someone, walk a mile with their shoes. That way, you are a mile away when you are criticized, when others are criticizing, and anyhow, you are having their shoes. If the shoe is comfortable, run away. Right? So it is not that way. Empathy is something, which you actually exchange the brain, exchange the mind, exchange the head itself. You put yourself in actual shoes of the other person and then try to understand. In fact, if you want to do that, people, you have to actually, what you have to do first, you have to get away from your shoes. That becomes really difficult. You have to get out of your shoes first, and then you have to enter into another person's shoes. Then you have to realize what the other person feels, thinks like, feels like, smells like, right? On a particular situation. That is why, I say that you have to feel as others, right? Not feel for others. Feel for others is sympathizing. Oh, this person has got hurt. Okay, he needs a treatment. That is feeling, for others. But feeling as others is you are actually feeling the other person's pain. Okay. I think, I have come a little closer to my end of the topic. Let me tell you that how this perceptual positioning I applied in my HR world, right? This is my very favorite interview question, right? How did I ask this my favorite interview question? I asked the interview candidate, who is your most liked boss? 1% boss. Think about your 1% boss. And the person who comes naturally will think about the 1% boss. Then I'll say, who is your most hated boss? The most hated. Who is the most hated boss by you in entire career? Think about that person. Don't tell who that person is. Just think about that person. Now you have to do me 2 things. One, what would your 1% boss will give you feedback on your weaknesses? and what would be the list of your strengths by your hated boss? The interviewees will get confused here. They will take little time for putting them in the perspective of the hated boss, perspective of the 1% boss, and think about it. And this question has helped me a lot in terms of cracking many people's inner core of what they are thinking and why, whether they are telling true or lie, whether they are whatever they have written in their resume is right or wrong. For that, this helped me. I think if you are a HR person here, I think this will be your favorite question even from next tomorrow onwards. Probably, if you are using this already, you are great. You are a genius. Let me come back to this thing. By doing this perceptual positions, by trying to understand another person's perspective, are you trying to change the other person? No. We should understand that no one can change anybody unless other person wants to change. So no one changes unless they want to. Not if you beg them, not if you shame them, not if you use reason, not emotions, tough love. There is only one thing that makes someone change: their own realization that they need to change. So objective learning of perspective, positions, is not to change others, but by changing ourselves. By looking into ourselves, by looking into others' perspectives, what happens is we get a better wisdom to look at the same conflicting situation in a different way. Okay. Now, let me tell you how this operates in NLP. There are positions. There are positions inside your mind's eye. What are those positions? Position 1, that is you as a person. Position 2, the conflicting person as the position 2. Then there is a third position. I'm going to introduce few more positions here. I want your attention, all of your attention here again, right? Position 3, there is a position 3 here. This position 3 is actually a fly on the wall. The fly on the wall position is somebody who is looking at what is happening here. You are sharing your perspective, and you move into another person's place, and then you are sharing that person's perspective. These two perspectives, when it is shared, there is a person who is on the wall. From the wall, that person is objecting both the perspectives of these people, and that is the third perspective. And there is interestingly another perspective that is called the wise person, the wise person's perspective. Now, in NLP, the position 3 is called meta position. Then in the position 5 is called meta position. Meta is one step above. Now, meta is 2 steps above. Okay, that is why it is called, it's a wise person's position. Okay, how it operates, I will come back. Before introducing another position, let me tell you what happens here. Now, position 1, we ask the person to bring that conflicting position, what you are conflicting, relationship, what you wanted to find a solution for. Share whatever you are thinking. That person is sitting in front of you, but actually the person is not in front of you, right? It is only in the mind's eye. So you tell whatever you want to tell to that person. Leave no stone unturned. Just think and feel the same way, whatever you will feel in front of that person. Then there is a break stage given, and this person is told, okay, you are now not you, and you are going into another person's shoes. Go into that person's shoe, stand there or sit there, and think like that person who is in you, who you are in conflict. Think, feel, and like that person, and then share whatever that person will share to you. Leave no stones unturned. Just blurt out whatever comes to your mind as another person, and that person shares it. After these 2 perspectives are shared, and then the third person who's the fly on the wall position is asked. No, you are asked to go to that position and see these both perspectives, what they shared, and what is the lessons you are learning. That lessons learned by the meta position is told to you how this two perspectives are bringing your wisdom up, bringing your self-awareness up. Now, again, the meta perspective, that means whatever the meta position has missed, whatever the wise person is identifying, whatever the third person has missed, that person is advised, oh, you have missed these things, you add these things, so that person A, no, you are getting into better understanding. This way you are actually moving yourself to three other perspectives other than your perspective. Now, after doing this, you are coming back to your own position. Now you have actually, you feel painful because the other person's perspectives you have seen, which you so far refuse to see. And there is a neutral view which has come from third position, looking at both perspectives, which may not be palatable to you. And there is a meta position which is saying what has happened here is going like this. Now you are actually feeling, low, because other person's perspectives are not very palatable to me. Now, when you're coming back to you, now you need support. When you need support, this is what position 5 does. And I'm told that Amar is the inventor of this. Now Amar's genius, we have to understand. Amar is a genius, and if he has taken NLP doctorate, I would definitely say that, this one invention is enough for telling that to the NLP world that you deserve that Amar. This position is called the angel, right? The guardian angel of you. Okay, the guardian angel immediately applies tiger balm on wherever you are painful, right? And the guardian angel's position is to protect your rights, and say, hey, you got other people's perspective shared by other people. Yes, that really, it's really difficult for you to take that, but don't worry, you will be all right. That is what guardian angel position is, protecting your own self-esteem, your own self-respect, and it gives you a kind of a lighter version of, and it creates that kind of a new world it is giving to you. And this is what is called NLP perceptual position. This is an intervention in NLP. Okay, with that, I will go back to the story which I have shared. In the first slide, which I told that there is a story, and this girl was wanting to have only that puppy, which is actually a handicapped puppy or a physically challenged puppy. It is because, and she's also physically challenged. And the shopkeeper noticed that when the girl passed, and when the girl, went outside the door, he saw that girl is also walking with prosthetics. And why that girl wants only that puppy? It is because of the empathy. My question now here is interesting question. Now, father had bought her this puppy. Now, who did the father help? Whose pain the father alleviated? Is the father alleviated the pain of the dog? Is the father alleviated the pain of the daughter? Is the father alleviated his own pain? I leave it to you to think about it, right? Fantastic having you here. Thank you very much for listening to me for this 50 minutes, what I have taken you through this particular topic called perceptual positions. I hope this was useful to you. Definitely, this would have opened up a new area of understanding for you as far as NLP is concerned. You join NLP and you will get closer to how to apply this as an intervention, right? And this is where I am. My number is here, my contacts are here, and you can contact me for any understanding more. And thank you so much. And I do corporate programs. In case if you want any corporate programs, I'm available for conducting. My special programs are on leadership. My first time manager program is a flagship program. I'm also a specialist in six thinking hats. And all those things I've already told more about me. Thank you so much, and wonderful having you as participants. Thank you. And any questions, comments, suggestions, ideas, I'm ready to take. Thank you. Over to you, Amma.
Thank you very much, Ara. That was a wonderful story. I just felt right at the start when you started the story with the father and the daughter and the puppy. We didn't know about where this story is going to go, and with all the learnings that you gave us today, and when you actually packaged all those learnings with the last part of the story, that was truly amazing. So thank you very much for that. And questions. I'm sure a lot of y'all have a lot of questions creeping up in your head, crawling into your head, jumping into your head, something like that. I don't know. Yes, y'all can unmute and y'all can ask questions.
If there's no questions, everything is understandable, or everything is not understandable. Only two occasions. You don't have questions.
Or there's a third possibility that they are hungry.
No, I really like the perspective you gave about how to select a candidate actually, and how to know someone. And if I could just intertwine it, how to know someone's true values through using perceptual positions, which is basically summarizing both the sessions today, and it was great.
Thank you,
So
Saumya.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate. Thank
Thank
you.
you. You are always benevolent in appreciating people. Thank you so much.
Arre.
So that's good. It's a very quiet group, isn't it? I'm sure Ara can
In
talk
fact,
all night.
so much has been given that we have become speechless. At least I have become speechless. I could correlate. And good session.
Thank you, Amarjit sir.
Actually,
In fact,
we can ask Olga to ask some question, because I understand that both of y'all are connected with each other. Y'all are colleagues, so I'm sure, and because I think she's joining today, isn't it? So I'm sure she must be having some questions. I know I'm singling her out like a primary school teacher, but yeah, I mean, if Olga, if you have any questions for your colleague.
Wanted to thank you, to say hello to everyone and thank you for this fabulous presentation. Actually, yeah, we have been colleagues with Ara for many years, but I'm first time at the NLP session. So I think I have so much of information that it's just not exactly like psychology. It's very different. The only thing that Ara mentioned that they use these technologies when they select people, hiring processes, recruitment. That was very interesting how you apply this particular strategy that you were talking about in those processes, and maybe you use this also like not just sharing and making us think about this particular phenomena, but maybe you use this and you apply in some, you can give us some recommendations as trainers as well. That would be interesting.
Thank you,
How
Uleka.
to use that.
Thank you. Olga is from Ukraine, but she took a PhD from University of Pennsylvania. When a lot of researches happen on psychology in University of Pennsylvania, and she was part of those. Thank you very much for participating, and wonderful you have shared something.
Yes, and we are calling this NLP Global Conclave. Generally, what I've seen is mostly Indians are sitting here, but because Olga has joined us today, now today it has become truly a global conclave.
I'm very honored. Thank you.
So, okay, cool.
I want to support my Indian friends.
Yes, and glad that you could make it. I'm sure there was a big time difference. I'm sure that probably you are sitting in here compromising on a lot of
No,
daily
I'm in a
activities.
better condition than you are, guys. I'm not hungry. It's just the beginning of the day, 11:26 a.m. And I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Raju sir,
Yes, yes. Yes,
If
Palam,
if you
sir,
just
please
go to
go ahead.
that final position where you had 5 of them together, when does it, or can you give me some sample scenarios where you require to actually go into examination of the same matter from 5 different positions?
Sir, I'll quickly tell you how it is done. Can you think of a recent conflict situation you had with anybody? Just think of that position.
Yeah.
Now there is a person in front of you. There is a person in front of you with whom you are in conflict, or no, there's a misunderstanding, or there is a misunderstanding with that person. There is a person in front of you. Yeah. Now you will tell to that person whatever you want to tell is position number 1. Now I will tell, now Palan sir, get out of your shoes. Enter into that person's shoes. Now you share what that person will share about the same situation what you have told. Leave no stones unturned, and tell anything which the other person will tell to you. You got the 2 perspectives, position, your perspective, and other person's perspective, 2 perspectives you got. Now you are explained in the beginning itself that there is a third person. The third person is a wise person, and he is a fly on the wall, right? Now Balan sir himself has become a fly on the wall, observing these 2 people discussing about a particular situation, the conflicting situation, the disagreement situation, or a misunderstanding situation. The 2 perspectives they are sharing. One from Balan's perspective, the other is the conflicting perspective. Now, this fly on the wall observes both of you, and without any subjective understanding of this, and then that person gives an objective understanding of what is going on here, right?
Just
now,
an understanding, not a judgment.
Not a judgment at all. It cannot be a judgment. It cannot be a judgment. It's an objective. What you are told, what the other person has told. Okay. That is the this means getting closer to the objective reality. That is also going to be subjective reality. But it could become an objective reality if you are actually becoming that third person. If you are able to put yourself in that shoes of the third person who's a wiser person, and then you are able to distinguish between these 2 angles. And then the 4th position comes into play, that is a meta position, which observes the observer. The third person is an observer. The 4th position is an observer of the observer. 4th position tells to the observer, hey, you missed out on these points. I also saw you sharing your perspective on what you have seen between these 2 people. Now you missed out on all these things. Can you just share that also to Balan? Now, when you go back to your position, then the third perspective is coming to you with a full wisdom. With full wisdom, it comes to you. Now, that is when, when you come back to your position, you've seen your position and your conflicting position. You may now probably realize that person is also right. I have not seen this angle at all. If that happens, that means you are getting, oh my goodness, now my self-respect is gone down, I'm feeling painful, I have something, heavy in my chest and all those things. For that, applying the balm only, Amar's invention of, guardian angel comes there. Guardian angel comes and it takes full hand, of a tiger balm, and it applies on your chest, saying that, don't worry, everything will be all right. You are going to be better tomorrow because you have become wiser now. That is how these perspectives are operating.
So this could take a fair amount of time. It's not something which might get resolved.
It could take a good time. It could take a good time. If you want to actually dwell on it in a deeper level, it could take some time. Now I did it in a matter of 2 minutes, and it is not a justice at all, I know. But you can take fair amount of good time for understanding the other person's perspective.
Thank you.
Right? Thank you so much. Thank you. Amar, open to you, sir.
I think the second position is the toughest position for all people. A lot of people walk into the second position but they're still thinking from the first position. That, because that bias is there. So really, I mean, that process itself takes some time. Okay. I mean, I ran this during one coaching session. I ran this. It went on for 2 hours. This entire cycle. Okay. Eventually, I got double the money for the coaching session. But I mean, of course. So, but yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to do it individually, you can do it. It's just that you really need to feel and think from each position. That's how it is. Cool.
It's like more complicated too, usually we are used to two-way reflection, and it's like multi-level dimensional positive thing, it's more complicated to learn, like you showed those 6 hats of different colors, like we need to go through those perspectives to analyze, and also here you have to have very high level of conscientiousness in order to understand your feelings, reactions, perceptions. Very interesting tool and very useful information. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah. I mean,
Thank
it's
you.
like,
Thank you.
let's say Balan sir has a child, okay, and that child has good eyes, okay, good eyes in the sense can see properly. Let's say Balan sir gives his specs to the child and says that, you look good, and all the wisdom of my life, I have incorporated that wisdom in these specs, and now I'm asking you to wear these specs, and hence your life will be sorted. But the child might say that, I mean, this is all good, but I still can't see it. I can't see anything. Okay. This is where, sometimes parents look at, I mean, from the parenting perspective, we look at certain things from our perspective, but sometimes the kids are really not able to relate to it. So this is actually useful in parenting as well. It's useful in relationships where, like, in the earlier discussion where Saumya mentioned about accountability and punctuality. Okay. Where eventually her manager said that, okay, you take your time. Okay. And, but get it done. Really what happened over there was the boss probably walked into Saumya's shoes and said that, this is how she operates and this is how she's comfortable with. Maybe I can just, I can't change her. Maybe I can just compromise a little bit over here, but because she's getting her job done. Okay, that's how it is. So, I mean, there are so many other perspectives on, and the same example can be given for leadership, maybe, or any other aspect. But I guess it's pretty much 10:04. I'm going to start charging you all for every extra minute. Okay. So tomorrow, by the way, just before I let you all go, tomorrow we are going to have, it's the last day of our conclave. So please make sure that you're there on the same link. Okay. I anyways pester you all every day by sending you the link. Okay. I'm sure you all are, after tomorrow, you all are going to get some withdrawal symptoms, or you all are going to miss me. Okay. That, why is Amarendra not messaging me? Why? Okay, but tomorrow is the last day, and we've got 2 speakers. One is Sushil Maratha, and the last speaker is Alvin Mendonca. Again, they'll be speaking about very interesting core aspects of NLP and the applications of it. Make sure you all are there tomorrow exactly at 8 o'clock. And you all have been lovely participants for these 3 days. And I'm sure you all are going to be even more lovely tomorrow. By the way, the recordings are placed on a Google Drive, and the links I've shared with some people. Okay, so if you all want the links of the link of the recording of the Google Drive, please message me and I'll send them to you. Okay, it's only those people who message me I want to send. Okay, look at my eyes; these are strict eyes. Okay. So see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye. Have a good night's sleep. Olga, you have a good day ahead, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
See you all. Bye. Take care.